Hey guys, Bubba here with the Bubbanews, all in one word, all in one news. I'm recording this tonight at 10:17 p.m. and it is today, June 17. This is crazy, guys. I wanted to call this one What Next? What next for Israel versus Iran? What next for the USA? Are they going to join? Well, oh guys, this is starting to get really wild. This is really getting wild, but let's just start off with today's verse before we get going here. I threw this one up, Psalm 25, verses 1 and 2. Lord, I put my life in your hand. I trust in you, my God. Guys, if you put your trust in Jesus, you have nothing to worry about. And there's a lot of fear and anxiety going on right now. So I totally get it. But you know what? When we're born again, we put our life in the Lord Jesus Christ's hands as it is. We give it all to him, and that's exactly what we're doing. Oh, you know one else who needs to see the Lord Jesus Christ? I believe it's Donald Trump. But that being said, let's get right to today's news, because this is starting to get squirrely and nutty, Professor. This came out earlier today, too. Trump said we won't know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out, at least not for now. Not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter. It sounds like a bad press release, almost like a bad infomercial, but, you know, Trump's calling for unconditional surrender, adding a social media post that we know exactly where the Ayatollah is. So Reuters is reporting, all kinds of deployment of warplanes to the Middle East, and they did, and they are. But the IDF estimates that within 1 week, the bank of targets in Iran, which includes the nuclear sites, ballistic missiles, and other targets, will be completed. The Israeli Air Force commander said today, we have destroyed more than 70 Iranian air defense batteries. Israel believes that the United States will soon join on the attack on Iran. And if the U.S. joins the offensive, it's not going to be a symbolic action, but it's going to be a significant one. And I'm showing this right here because this is called the Delilah II. This is an Israeli cruise missile. And it's got a camera on the front. We're going to see what it does here in a few minutes with the video. But, a senior Israeli official said the reason that there are fewer launches from Iran is the continuous Israeli action against the launchers and the missiles. And Israel says that so far, 40% of the Iranian launchers have been destroyed. And that's one reason why their barrages coming into Israel is getting smaller, it seems like, every night. But, in the past 24 hours, at least 20 tankers took off from various bases across Europe to support, which is confirmed to be a large-scale redeployment of U.S. fighter jets to the Middle East. And among the most visible movements today was a group of at least 12 F-35A Lightning II fighters. They departed from the RAF Lakenheath there in the UK, heading towards the Middle East. And the scale of the aerial refueling effort suggests that additional fighter aircraft, most likely F-15s, F-16s, F-18s, Growlers, that kind of stuff, are also involved in the operation, but the aircraft are no longer visible via open source tracking platforms. Their transponders, they turned off. So that's what's going on there. But given the scale and the logistics of this deployment, it's possible that additional waves of fighter jets and support aircraft may follow in the coming days as the United States continues to reinforce its presence in the region. And remember when I was just talking about the Delilah II missile defense system? Well, I'm going to show you this IDF footage that they released this afternoon there at 1:30. Shows targeting Iran's air defense systems. So these are the Delilah II cruise missiles. And in the first video, a third Cordad system is hit while its crew is preparing for its operation. These guys, I don't think, got out in time, but let's find out.
Alpha. לגבי F2 בכיוון מערב הנסיעה.
אוקיי, 7, מצטרף אליך אחות. אוקיי.
Bye-bye.
נקודה 4 מ-7.
פגיעה במשאית ובנת"ק. מעולה. ימינה דרומה, בערך 10-20 מטר, יתרים אתה צריך לזרוק אותו במחצי. אם להיות, תלך למשאית הקוראים. כן, כל הזמן. נראה טוב. אלפא.
I don't know about you guys, but watching that, I had old memories of watching Grandma's black and white TV back in the 1970s. I don't know if you guys remember the black and white TVs. That's kind of what it reminded me of. Oh, goodness. Especially with the fuzzy signal and everything, you know, trying to get the antenna, the bunny ears going the right way. Anyway, Israel says that Iran's missile stockpile is down in the current operation. A 40% decrease is what Israel is saying. Israel estimated that they had 3,000 missiles to begin, and they only have about 1,800 left. But you know, Iran's their missile firing management strategy is shifting to a type of guerrilla warfare. Limited missile firing by launcher squads over a wide deployment that exposes it to attacks. But this is also why the Home Front Command admitted there in Israel that there's now difficulty in detecting these new launch intentions by Iran. And Iran is saying that the majority of their missiles they're going to save them back. They're going to hold back because they believe that the U.S. will also join the campaign. And this is going to require massive firepower from Iran against U.S. military bases to destroy them. Now, keep in mind, we have about 40,000 troops there in the Middle East. And right there next to Iran in Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, we've got a bunch of troops. But you know what? Israel and the West, like the United States, have been preparing for this 0 hour, which is very close. But today, the circumstances, they've grown big time. That's what I'm saying. What's next? What next is on the radar with, you know, this war? I mean, here's another big concern because the foreign minister of the United Arab Emirates today, he came out, Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed warned of uncalculated and reckless steps that could spill out beyond the borders of Iran and Israel. He gave that statement today. And the UAE and the other Gulf states know what is very possible very soon, and that's a radiation leak from an Israeli attack that will trek across the Persian Gulf. So they're really concerned about this. And, you know, Trump's Situation Room today, they were there for almost 2 hours. Well, actually, it was 90 minutes per the White House official, and there was no full agreement among Trump's advisors to join Israel in an attack against Iran just yet. But according to Israel's Channel 12, the U.S. thought that, you know, the U.S. was going to join the fight against Iran tonight. Well, that didn't happen. But this is an updated map here of their nuclear stuff. And the ones I'm watching are the Arak in the far west, the left there, Fordo in the red, Natanz in the red, Isfahan in the black, and down there in the yellow, the Bushehr nuclear power plant, their pride and joy. But while this is going on, Israel continues to move into Gaza, and they're taking it over, and they are, and they will, and this is prophetic. This is Amos 1, 6 through 8, Zephaniah 2, 4 through 7, Jeremiah 47, 4 through 7, Ezekiel 25, 15 to 17, and others. But Arab countries, especially the Gulf states, they're also looking to see what D.C. is going to do and what Trump's going to do, if he's going to join this war with Israel or not. I mean, a month ago, Trump was there in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. He was there in Doha, Qatar. He was there in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. And they all heard opposition by Trump that he didn't want to use military action against the Iranian nuclear program, as Trump wanted to get a nuclear deal, but that didn't happen. So Trump's decision to join Israel is significant for those in the Gulf states because this could put them also now in the ring of fire by Iran. You know, in Iran, I don't know about you guys, we've been watching, probably some of you have as well, Agenda Free TV, Steve Lookner, you know, talking about all the stuff with all the live coverage with his, you know, the stuff he gets there from the different TV networks and stuff. But he mentioned, too, that Iran State TV keeps issuing, you know, all these crazy statements. They said this tonight, that tonight the world will witness a momentous surprise, one that will be remembered for centuries. I mean, Israel's already achieved more than 50% of its objectives in the Iranian assault. And the Israeli Air Force keeps intensifying their strikes today, even on critical Iranian targets. And those are expected to increase in the next 24 hours. So Iranian officials told the New York Times that their country could start to place mines in the Strait of Hormuz if the United States joins the war. Mines will destroy any shipping vessels as well. That's not smart. I mean, a lot of this stuff, and here's a graphic here talking about the crude oil, the condensate, and the petroleum products that are transported through the Strait of Hormuz. We've got to keep an eye on that, but you know what? A combined attack with mines that Iran has, or that they could place in short order, as well as ballistic missiles, could challenge the U.S. naval defense in the Strait of Hormuz. Because Iran has an estimated 5,000 to 6,000 mines and anti-ship missiles, like the Khalij FARS, FARS missile, which could restrict ship movement and strain the defenses. I mean, the U.S. Navy has a lot of countermeasures, like Avenger-class ships, unmanned systems, like the water-based drones. They have the Aegis missile defense with proven success against missiles, but a large-scale simultaneous attack, this would do more than test the resource allocation in the Strait's narrow waters. And I think the United States knows this, because they know that if they enter that Strait of Hormuz with their aircraft carriers, they could be in the direct line of fire, and basically in that very shallow, it's fairly shallow as well, but it's very narrow. They can be trapped. And Trump was supposed to make a statement tonight to the world, declaring war on Iran. Well, that didn't happen. He might try to pass it off still, maybe tomorrow, as saying that he'll authorize an operation to destroy Iran's nuclear facilities or something. But, it was reported that the White House Chief of Staff and Vice President J.D. Vance, it was being reported that they were all heading to the Pentagon. So it could have been something brewing for tonight's fireworks, but we'll see. But it doesn't look like it happened. But Netanyahu's consultation with his senior ministers and heads of defense establishment continued for more than 2 hours. The Pentagon tonight has put all U.S. forces on high alert across the Middle East bases, including the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Qatar, Jordan, Kuwait, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. And the Iranian state media issued a warning saying that the surprise would be seen for centuries, and they could still be trying to say that they plan to use nukes. And this could be why Trump left the G7 meeting early last night. As far as I'm concerned, Iran still doesn't have any nukes, but it's possible. But it just shows how desperate Iran is. And it also shows the world that they are a terror regime. But what if they do? And they very well might. And this may be why the Elon prophecy kicks off, because God's fierce anger is stirred up. Because it sounds like somebody is getting ready to launch something on Israel that they shouldn't be doing. And God's not going to let that happen. And earlier tonight, it was reported that all U.S. diplomats in the Middle East have been instructed to shelter in place and cancel all planned public events. So early reports were saying that when Trump began speaking, which he didn't tonight, but they said that when he did, that strikes could begin across the Middle East and not just Iran, but that they would begin simultaneously. So popcorn might have been needed tonight, but it didn't happen. That being said, around 5:35 this evening Eastern Time, inbound missiles and ballistic missiles were launched directed from Iran towards Israel. And early reports came out saying that it could have been a large wave of missiles. So I said, we'll see. They detected missile launches from Iran towards Tel Aviv, Haifa, the Galilee, and Jerusalem. Before I got back to that story, France deploys an A330 tanker, a Mirage and E-3 AWACS aircraft to detect incoming missiles and threats off the Israeli coast. But it was reported that there are about 30 missiles incoming. That's what the final report came out to be, 20 to 30 missiles. But they targeted the north and they targeted the central there, going down to even Ashdod. So a bunch of missiles and more than earlier today, which was just a couple of them. And there was an excellent job by the IDF air defenses. They used everything from the Arrow 2 and 3 to the Iron Dome. But that being said, let's look at the video here. This is the Iranian ballistic missiles documented over Israel. This came out right around 5:48 p.m. tonight. Just looks like a meteor shower. Now, that being said, the U.S. is talking about bringing in the B-52 Stratofortress, the nuclear-capable, preparing for takeoff. That was being reported tonight from Diego Garcia Air Base. And that 4 aircraft, all 4 of the B-52s, will be involved in the possible attack. At least this is what AFP was reporting earlier. Last I saw, it didn't seem like they had done anything tonight, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But I have a feeling it's going to ramp up because as we get closer to the new moon, the darkest moon, that's coming up, I believe, on the 21st. It's right around the corner. But Israel's on the attack move tonight over Iran, and they've been targeting missile launchers in real time. As soon as they launched those missiles on Israel, Israel was finding out where those rocket launchers were, and they were going after them. So, but this did happen tonight, and I have noticed this, and I mentioned this on Vendog earlier tonight when we did the Bubba report, but this is the 3rd time in 3 nights that I'm starting to see some of the Israeli technology fail. The moment an Israeli Iron Dome interceptor rocket fell on northern Tel Aviv. Whoops. Look at this. This was a big explosion. So I'm keeping an eye on this because even the Washington Post reported that some of Israel's air defenses are getting low. I don't think they're getting low yet, but I have a feeling the U.S. THAAD missile defenses could be getting low. And I have a feeling their Arrow 2 and Arrow 3, they're big boys, Israel's big boy air defense rockets, those are starting to get low because those are very, very, very expensive. But on top of this, check this out. An X-1.2 class solar flare just erupted from the sun. The most intense category of the solar radiation burst is an X-class. And this flare could disrupt satellites, cause radio signal blackouts, and potentially trigger geomagnetic storms over the next 24 to 48 hours. And it's fascinating because the report came out tonight that the USA Embassy in Jerusalem is closed Wednesday through Friday when this solar flare is coming in, of all things. So I found that kind of ironic because Shepherd for the King, Matt over there, he brought that out on Twitter, and I caught that, and I was like, that's crazy town. But what else was crazy town is that Israel, it looked like they struck something huge in the vicinity of the Kohijir test stand east of Iran. This was big. And they showed a map above of what the mountain range is. This was a big attack. So Israel ordered evacuation on Tehran's District 18. It said the IDF had issued an evacuation order for Tehran, in Iran's capital. This is reminding me of like the IDF sending out these evacuation notices for Hezbollah, Beirut area, or Khan Yunis in Gaza, or Gaza City back in the day, that kind of stuff, these evacuation orders. So Israel's now putting out evacuation orders for big boy. It's like a David versus Goliath, Israel versus Iran. You know what I mean? This is wild. But this area had about 500,000 residents in a 38 square kilometer area. This was basically a 6 square mile area. So they're preparing to strike targets in that area soon, and they have. But then, not to be left out, Iran comes out for one, and they issued an evacuation order trying to copy Israel and telling people in a certain area of Tel Aviv to flee. The Sahala area. This is a huge residential area. Okay, so this came out nutty professor too, because the Palestinians in the West Bank, they started collecting the Iranian missile fragments that fell. And here's my question. What are these guys getting ready to do? Are they going to sell it on eBay? Look at these cougars. They did, dude. They had this entire missile on their van, their truck, and they were taking it through the West Bank there of Judea and Samaria. Absolutely crazy town. But you know what? It is 2025. All bets are off. But yeah, the Kosir, this was hit hard. This missile development complex located near the Parchin facility east of Tehran was destroyed by the Israeli Air Force tonight. Okay, remember earlier tonight when I talked about Iran, when they said that tonight holds a surprise that the world will remember for centuries? Well, they didn't launch anything like that at Israel, but this could be what Iran was talking about tonight, using technology in their latest ballistic missile attack, and it was not shot down by Israel's Arrow 3, Arrow 2 system, or David's Sling air defense systems. The THAAD didn't even get them. The Iron Dome is Israel's last layer of defenses, and they were used hard in this last Iranian barrage here, a couple hours back. But it feels like something changed tonight, because Iran might have found a weak spot in the Israeli air armor. Look at all these Iron Domes that are having to be fired as the last level of protection. Because you'll see them at the bottom. See how close they are to the earth? Those are all the Iron Domes, the ones that are the closest. I don't know. It could be just fragments, but it looks like Israel's, they had to use their Iron Domes more tonight than normal. And I hated to have to do this, but I wanted you guys to know this because I've had people text me. I'm going to segue real quick here. It's like we're going to the grocery store. Nope, we're going this way. All right, we're going that way real quick. But I've had some subscribers text me about this. And there's a couple, like this person. They're impersonators. And I've reported this to Telegram, but nothing seems to happen. I don't get it. And it's a crazy world because we're living in a total social media, all about me world. This is what is on this channel. And I don't talk to you guys about crypto, but I had to throw this up because I don't want you guys to get upset. And I don't want you guys to get hacked or whatever. Look at this one, another one, Bubbanews chat. But 2 Timothy 3:4 mentions how people will be treacherous or traitors. And when you dig that word up in the Greek, it means to be betrayers or impersonators. So it's truly wild watching so many prophecies happening in real time. Not only in Israel, but like here. 2 Timothy 3:4. Even impersonation, this is wild because deception is everywhere. Here's another one. This is not me. That's not me. Men will be lovers of self. 2 Timothy 3:2. We're there. It's 2025. I just don't want any of you guys to take the bait from these deceivers. This is the only reason I'm bringing this up. That's all. But yeah, just so you know, I don't do that. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the Tabriz missile system in western Iran has just been wiped out following the airstrikes of Israel last night. Check this out. Even the underground bunkers were targeted with strikes hitting their entrances directly. Look at this. Just destroyed it. Another one, same area. It's the Tabriz missile base there in western Iran. It's been wiped out following Israel's airstrikes last night. Oh, here's this one. And this feels like World War II is starting up again. And it feels like the Axis versus Ally scenario is being set up all over again. Like history repeating itself. 1941 with the World War II beginning. This is a Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, and this is his official statement just tonight. I call on the governments of China, Russia, Turkey, the Gulf Cooperation Council, Global South countries, and all Islamic nations to support Iran. He said Berlin, Paris, London, and Washington want and encourage nuclear war. To what extent will they allow Netanyahu to continue what he's doing? He has slaughtered more than 60,000 Palestinians, including 30,000 children. Netanyahu is the Hitler of the 21st century, bringing to the Middle East and to West Asia and the entire world a war where consequences will be dire. This is exactly what Maduro came out with tonight. And it's just amazing, the anti-Israeli sentiment. But you know what? This is prophesied, and it's going to get worse. But they did tonight. The IDF launched a massive airstrike on Iran's Kosir missile complex. This is a key component in Iran's ballistic missile program. The facility houses subsidiaries of the AIO, missile engine test stands, liquid and solid rocket fuel production lines, and other critical infrastructure. And Israel knocked that out tonight, and we're going to see more tomorrow. I'm going to finish it off tonight. We'll keep it short, actually, but this is Mount Lewotobi, Laki-Laki in Indonesia, and it erupted a little over 16 hours ago, and this thing was massive. I don't know if you guys saw this video, but I got two of them I wanted to share. I got more, but I just want to show you these two. But the number of volcano eruptions so far in 2025, well, 54 have been recorded as of May. And we're ahead of the historical average of 50 to 70 per year. An historical average of 50 to 70 per year, and we've already had 54 as of last month. The range since 1950 is between 46 and 85 eruptions annually. But 2025 is expected to be 50 to 100% higher than normal. And let's look at this video of this explosion. This thing is massive. This is higher than normal.
Selamat sore, terjadi letusan Gunung Lewotobi. Seperti ini.
That thing is massive.
Lang mai. Selamat sore, terjadi letusan Gunung Lewotobi. Seperti ini.
Let's go to the next one. Look how much of this down at the base was just going on. This was huge.
Letusan sore ini. Go sapu-sapu nih.
There is no doubt in my mind that we are going to see an uptick in this. And I had a buddy tonight, Art Martin, down there in Texas. He texted me and he's like, does this feel like Braxton Hicks, like contractions, like the fake labor pains? Do you think that's what we're doing? And I told him, I said, you know what, Art? I have a feeling these fake labor pains are actually going into full-on birth pains. Because what's next? We don't know. But it looks like it's just going to start getting nuttier and nuttier. And look at every single day that's going by now. Look at this year. We're already almost halfway through this year already. That's what I'm saying. Stuff is flying by. And stuff is happening so fast. I mean, what's next? The Harpazo is next, but we're waiting for it. But in the meantime, we're watching all these crazy Bible prophecies starting to come together. And there's all kinds of talk that Iran will be overthrown by the people here in the next week or two. And Reza Pahlavi, he's very possible the previous Shah of Iran, his son, to be able to step into power. I mean, he's even got 100-year or 100-day transition plan. And you know what? It tells us in the Elam prophecy there of Western Iran, separated by the Zagros Mountains, not Persia, the eastern 2/3, but Elam, the western 1/3, there along the Persian Gulf, where God is going to destroy out of it kings and princes. And it's like he's going to remove the current Ayatollah regime. And in verse 38, God is going to reestablish his throne there. And that doesn't only always mean like he's actually going to establish his throne there, but God's going to reestablish his throne there for the people to come to him. Because we read in Isaiah 11:11, people love their numbers, 11:11, this is a great one to remember. But check out and read Isaiah 11:11 and read further down in Isaiah 11. But the Elamites of Iran are part of the Jewish remnant from lineage that get to go into the millennial kingdom with the Lord Jesus Christ. That's what I'm saying, guys. The Bible is so fun right now. It's just jumping off the pages. And we literally can take the Bible and use it as our reading glasses to look at the world around us and see God just putting into motion all these puzzle pieces for his Bible prophecies. And stuff is going to continue to add up as we go forward in the next few days and weeks and months towards the Gog of Magog war coming up. Not the Revelation 27 verses 7 through 10, the second one at the end of the 1,000-year millennial reign of Christ, but the one before it in Ezekiel, the 52 verses there in Ezekiel 38 and 39. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your prayers. Thank you so much for the encouragement. You guys are truly, truly awesome. Thank you so much, moderators. It's just going to be crazy town busy, but we know that King Jesus is coming soon, and we know that our departure is coming soon as well. And it's very possible we've got to keep our eyes on Hezbollah in the borders of Israel, because still something is coming where an unsuccessful siege is going to be moving into place. I'm not sure when, but that still is coming. So what next? Stay tuned to this Bubba channel. We'll find out tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching Maranatha, and we'll talk to you soon. We're out of here soon. We'll talk to you later. Bye.